All right, hello everybody. So today I want to show you how to create a polygon that changes from one shape into another, um, but in two different ways. So the first one is I want to remind you of how we did it originally. So I'm going to start with a slider that is here. I'll click here and I'll make sure that my numbers for the interval start from the minimum of 3 and the maximum will be 6. No particular reason. I pretty much those are the numbers I want to choose, and this is counting increment by 1. And actually, let me rephrase that. The 3 has to be the minimum because the smallest polygon you can make is only out of 3 sides, which is a triangle. And then the 6 is just arbitrary, meaning that I could have made it larger or smaller depending on what I wanted. But gives me my hexagon, which is kind of part of the project that I'm dealing with. Okay, so I'll press OK. And I'll start by showing you how to do the original polygon that changes using my slider. And remember that for that, all you had to do was select this tool and then choose the one called regular polygon. So here it is, regular polygon. And I'm going to choose a dot here and a dot here. Now, when it tells me that, I got to decide what the vertices are. Vertices is kind of like fancy language for the corners of my polygon. And I want the corners to be decided by the measurement of A. So I'll go here, I'll click on 4, I'll replace it with the letter A. And it has to be the same letter because the slider is what I'm basically asking the slider to control my polygon. So I'll say OK. And now I'll go over to my arrow key and I'll move my slider. Now, if I've done this correctly, then my shape should change. Now, I want you to notice something about this particular change. The size of the triangle compared to the square, compared to the pentagon, compared to the hexagon, it appears almost like this is growing. So what if I wanted to have this kind of effect, but I wanted it to be the same size no matter what? In other words, instead of having a triangle getting bigger, or I'm sorry, a square getting bigger than the triangle, or the pentagon bigger than the square, I want it all to be pretty much within the same space. Okay, so to do that, I'm just going to make up a line and I'm going to just create a line to separate from one space to the next. So the only reason this line is here is going to literally be so that I can go ahead and just use it as a separator. So that separates one side from the other. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add myself a circle. And for that, I'm going to select circle with center through point. And I'll click and make a circle here, about that big. Now, what I want to use is I want to use this tool called angle with given size. Now, if I select this, notice what it says. I got to select the leg point and then the vertex. Now, what that means is I got to select the point that's going to get it started and where the corner is going to be. So to do that, what I'll do is I'll start on the center. I'll start here on the edge and then the center. And what I'm going to do is I have to decide the measurement of that angle. So what I'm going to say is I want that measurement to be the whole circle, which measures 360. Notice I didn't get rid of the angle measurement. And then I want to divide that by my measurement of A, which is my slider. Okay. So if this is 360 divided by A, when A equals 3 means 360 divided by 3. Okay. And it doesn't matter if it's clockwise or counterclockwise. I'm just going to put that as my measurement and I'll say OK. All right. So this is my measurement. I'm going to go to my arrow key. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move my slider to see how that affects these points or maybe this angle. So here, move it to 4. All right, that's 90 degrees. 5, 72, 6, 60. All right. So the point is being adjusted. Notice this point here is being adjusted as my slider moves. And at the same time, this shape is changing. Well, that's perfect. So now what I'm going to do, now that I have this already adjusting, I'll go back to my regular polygon. And remember that for the polygon, I just got to select 2 points and then decide the vertices. So I'm going to select this as my edge. So from here all the way to here. And again, I will use A to decide the number of sides. So my vertices is my corners really. So I want the number of corners to still be determined by A. So I'll press A and I'll press OK. Now notice what happened. This particular triangle is now stuck inside of this circle. And so when I change over to the arrow key and I move my slider, my circle isn't changing, but the shape inside is. And now every single shape that I create is within that space. I don't like this little green angle measurement, so I'll come over here to this little green piece and I'll just hide it. That way it's not there. And now I have two different ways of creating my polygon. One seems to change in size, and one is kind of bounded or kind of enclosed by the circle. And if I decide to make the circle smaller or bigger, then the shape is still locked up inside of that shape. Okay? And of course, I can adjust it, I can rotate it, I can do all sorts of things to it. All right, so I hope that made sense to you. That's an idea for your project this week. See what you guys can come up with. All right, bye.